revenue for that business. So these are key performance indicators. They're very important in analyzing the profitability and efficiency of your business. Welcome to another amazing episode with us here at Osage Financial. As always, if you're a student, we hope you find this information in this episode valuable to you. If you're a company looking for accountants, click the link below and we will be in touch with you as soon as possible. We are in the second half of 2026. We have been talking about your budget in the first half. We have been talking about, did you meet your actuals versus what you had budgeted in your business? The second half of 2026, we are focusing on your key performance indicators. Your key performance indicators match and analyze what activities in your business you're taking. And in those activities, what are the results of those activities? Last week, we gave an example of a towing company. With that towing company, we analyzed how many calls were coming into the business. From the calls coming into the business, how many calls were getting booked into calls that were ran and produced revenue. From the calls that were ran and produced revenue, what was the average revenue per call? Also, with this owner, we introduced tracking mileage. Yes, he tracks mileage for tax purposes. In this case, we tracked mileage for key performance indicators. What is his revenue per mile? So we looked at the entire month. How many miles were driven in that month? And then we looked at the entire month's revenue, how much revenue came from those miles driven that entire month. Of course, we analyzed revenue per call. Now we're analyzing the efficiency of his calls. Reason why we tracked his mileage is we wanted to see if he should expand his coverage area or reduce his coverage area. If he's driving long distances and his revenue per mile is really low, he needs to maybe focus on a specific geographical area that he can service his clients. If we're looking at that specific geographical area, the next thing we need to analyze is, would there be sufficient demand to be able to match the revenue? If there's no sufficient demand, yes, we can probably increase the geographical area or keep the geographical area the same. However, we may need to raise the prices to be able to make an appropriate revenue per mile revenue for that business. So these are key performance indicators. They're very important in analyzing the profitability and efficiency of your business. With a single owner business like that, the owner already understands the position that he's in. He's in the selling position. He's in the servicing position. So he has to understand both the ability to sell his products and services, market himself well, place himself well on Google, on social media, and then service the customer. The process of servicing the customer has to be absolutely standardized. So he understands when the customer calls, how he answers the call, how he books the call, and when he delivers to the customer, meaning when he goes to the customer's location to pick up the vehicle, how does that interaction go? And in the modern world that we're in, everything has to be documented. So he has to send the customer an invoice for the cost, invoice for the paid service. And these steps of the business are completely important. They tie back to the budget, they tie back to the operation of the business, they tie back to the efficiency of the business. Specifically related to KPIs, they tie to how efficiently he's operating his business. If, for example, he's doing a local toll and the local toll is $75. How long does it take him to complete that toll? Does it take him an hour, hour and a half? What's the time frame? Secondly, we already discussed mileage and distance. How long is a local toll? Then we can analyze the revenue per mile. And then how much is the average revenue for those local tolls? If it runs X amount of calls with X amount of revenue, what is the average revenue per call? All these things are important to analyze how efficiently he is operating. These are the human resource factor of the business, how efficiently he is operating. If his operations are inefficient because he is the bottleneck somewhere in that chain between the customer calling and delivering the customer's vehicle where it needs to be, then we need to find rooms for efficiency, room for process improvements. So KPIs are completely and absolutely important to the efficiency, to the operations of the business, and importantly, to analyzing how efficient is the business operating, what is our revenue per call, what is our revenue per mile, and where can we make improvements in the process. Sometimes you don't have to raise the customer's price. You have to raise your level of efficiency. Thank you for watching this episode with us here at Osage Financial. If you're a student, we hope you find this information valuable to you. If you're a company looking for accountants, click the link below and we will be in touch with you as soon as possible.